Hello, and welcome to the Heal Your Heart, Heal Your Life podcast, the podcast where we talk all things trauma and how we've healed and grown from it. And today I'm really excited to welcome a special guest, Nicole, also known as Wilqa Nina. She's an intuitive healer, she's a somatic ceremonialist, and also a witch, and many other amazing things. Thank you so much for coming on today, Nicole.
Thank you so much, Kiara, for having me. Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I feel like, you and I have we met in a really magical scenario, and it's just beautiful to keep weaving like this together. So yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
Definitely so much magic to share along our journey and just your journey as well. So we'll start with, you wanted to do a heart activation. So I thought this would be really great for the listeners if they want to follow along with us, or you can just listen and see how you feel in the beginning and then go back and rewind and do it along with us. So I think that'll be fantastic just to drop in to our heart.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. Beautiful. So let's just take a few deeper breaths together and just settle into the space. It's nice just to take some deep breaths into the lower belly, expanding the lower belly with inhale. And softening the face as you exhale. We're all just arriving here together. And bringing your attention now to your heart. Beautiful, beautiful heart in the center of your chest, your energetic heart. Perhaps even noticing the beat, the rhythm of your physical heart. And the invitation here is to bring your right hand to your heart space, center of your chest, and your left hand over your right hand. And just begin to take some breaths into the heart. Your beautiful heart, this multi-dimensional portal in our chests that allows us access to all of creation. And just as we inhale, we expand the heart portal, the heart space, both back and front. Beautiful golden portals of light, laced with emerald green and pink vibrations. And as we exhale, we're also expanding the heart. Breathing like this. And requesting inside, heart activate, heart consciousness activate. And having a little acknowledgement of your heart, saying, hey, heart. Maybe even saying, I love you, heart. I trust you, heart. I hear you, heart. I see you, heart. I feel you, heart. Taking a deep breath here. And as your heart expands, you also send a beautiful red cord, red thread of energy down from your base chakra, from the base of your spine. Red energy, like red roots reaching down, down, down into the earth. This red energy reaches down as you continue to breathe. Slowly and softly, this red energy goes all the way down, down, down into the heart, the center of the earth. And take a deep breath now to connect to the heart of the earth. Perhaps you can begin to feel as you exhale your heart beating with the heart of the earth, one heart. And take an inhale now to synchronize your heart and the heart of Gaia, the heart of the earth. Beautiful, feeling grounded and feeling supported. And on your next inhale, your awareness reaches up to the crown of your head. These beautiful golden threads of light reach up, 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 up into the universe. Up, 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 through the grand central sun, through Alcyon, all the way up to source, to the divine, to the heart of source consciousness. However you perceive that, and plugging this golden energy from your crown into the crystalline center, the heart of source, and take an inhale here, plugging into the heart of source, and taking an inhale to connect the three hearts, your heart, the heart of Gaia, and the heart of source. Three hearts, and bringing your awareness back now to your own heart, feeling this beautiful grounded energy, nourishing energy flowing up and down from the earth, this beautiful divine sacred cosmic energy, galactic energy coming all the way, creative energy from source up and down. And let's take one synchronized breath together before we come back to our shared space. Take an inhale. Hold for a moment and sip a little bit more air into the heart. And exhale out of the mouth, let it go. Bringing yourself and your beautiful heart back to this shared space. You can request here if you want to, I intend to remain in my heart today. I intend to receive this beautiful podcast and all its medicines from my heart, to listen with my heart, to speak from my heart, and to stay in my heart for the rest of the day. Shoo. Beautiful. I hope you enjoyed that.
Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So where do we start? I've got so many questions. I'm really interested. Do you think that your spiritual journey was a product of going through trauma, or do you feel like you always had it in you?
Amazing question. I feel like I always had it in me, but I wasn't aware of it. Yeah. So when I started my spiritual journey with you, practicing more psychic mediumship and meditation and psychic circle, it wasn't quite, we were learning a little bit about what blocked us, and sort of seeing our shadows a little bit, and our blockages, but I felt like it was still very I didn't understand a lot of what was being said to me. It wasn't until I started my shamanic journey, went to Peru and started working with plant medicine. I was very much under the impression that I didn't have any trauma. I couldn't.
Wow.
I think, I didn't think that I had any. I didn't. There wasn't as much talk in the field, in my field, about trauma. I went to do plant medicine because I thought I might want to be a shaman one day, and
wow.
I got to try the medicine if I want to work with it.
Yeah.
It was more from a curiosity. I didn't go to South America to heal. I went to learn. And then I found all this trauma.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I've always come from a psychology background where this has been spoken about, but I think that would be a very universal experience of not recognizing you even have trauma and then one day realizing. Yeah. Was that scary for you to find out, or how were you feeling during that journey?
Yeah, it was in a way it was scary, but it made a lot of sense as well.
Yeah.
Because in these journeys that I was going through with different plant medicines, it was because it's an experience rather than someone saying, "Oh, you're traumatized," from the outside, and it's the experience came from within.
Yeah.
So the first time I really felt it was in a combo ceremony, which is a plant medicine. It's a well, sorry, it's not a plant medicine. It's a frog medicine, actually.
Oh.
So it's this Amazonian rainforest tree frog,
Mm.
and it has this secretion that comes out of its skin when it's a little bit stressed. They don't harm the frog, but this secretion is like a poison or a medicine that
Mm.
gets put inside our skin. So we burn
Oh.
holes in the skin, and then this medicine gets put in. And this medicine was given to the people through the plant medicine of ayahuasca.
Yeah.
The shamans were like, we need something to heal the trauma in our bodies, our physical bodies, and
Mm.
also to make us strong so we can hunt and to make us physically clear.
Mm.
The ayahuasca, which is plant medicine, sent them to this frog. So I started working with plants, and then I started working with this frog, mostly because I was like a bit egoic, actually. Like, I wanted to try something new, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone said, come, and I was like, all right, cool. I want to try this stuff. I'm interested.
Yeah.
And it was my second time I had this ceremony, and there's a physical purging that happens, like actually
Mm.
like a vomiting that happens, and a shaking and a crying, and it's very emotional. But I found myself extremely blocked, and everyone in the room had finished their purge, and I
Oh.
was stuck in this wave of nausea.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this the shamana, she said to me, you have a blockage in your solar plexus.
Mm.
I'm going to give you some vrape, which is a tobacco-based snuff, which is the medicine I now work
Oh, wow.
with my own clients,
Yeah.
actually. This is the first time that I ever experienced this medicine. I was already with the frog medicine. And she gave it to me, and it was like, first I thought I was going to cry because it was physically painful. And
Mm.
once I started crying, I ended up wailing.
Yeah.
Like it was as if I was a young girl and you just told me my mother had passed or something. I was like
Mm.
hysterically crying, and it was shocking that
Wow.
I was
Yeah.
crying so much. I didn't realize that was inside me, and
Yeah.
I could feel spirit around me like, you're okay, just gotta let this out. And
Mm.
then just getting visions of like being a really young child. I'm the firstborn of three daughters, and just like being ignored a little bit.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah.
like being ignored a little bit as a child, being a little bit unseen. Like that's where this trauma, and it was like, whoa, it was so deep. And
Mm.
once I had the emotional purge, then I vomited heaps. Then the
Yeah.
physical purge could come. So for me, this moment was huge, because not only did I realize I was carrying this trauma that my mind seemed like it wasn't traumatic, like,
Yeah.
like nothing happened.
Yeah.
But it was so deep within me. And also the amazing, like, that I had to cry the emotions before I could purge the physicality of that
Yeah.
trauma. And then once I purged, then the whole room was like, yay, I got this like applause because I cleansed, and it was,
Mm.
and then I felt like, yeah, very different after that.
That's so interesting. So do you think that there's, like, if we're blocking our emotions, that there's aspects of that that relates to not being able to kind of get to the next step of clearing, essentially?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, emotional blocks. It's like, and this definitely makes us physically ill.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, and then from a, and where it manifests, like, it manifests um in our organs, in our gut. Like, sadness is mostly, and doubt is like in the stomach, and then you've got like
Mm.
anger in the liver, and like these emotions are really getting stored because we're not able to digest them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They get stuck in our digestive system and weigh us down.
Mm. Mm.
I, I actually was thinking, it's so funny. I actually was thinking on my morning poop this morning. I was thinking of like, that how the guts are connected to our nervous system,
Yeah.
our vagus nerve, and that you know, how relaxing it is to have a poop and just to let it go. And that, like, you know, when we're unable, we might get constipated if we're unable to let something go, and what to carry our shit around with us.
Yeah.
And how just like that, so to have everything moving through us is a really good sign that we're clear, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was a revelation to me when I realized that the physical was an expression of the emotionally uncleared. Yeah.
And don't you agree that, like, that's something we sort of have to experience physically within ourselves?
Yeah, to really have it drop in. You can
Yeah, to
hear
have it
about
drop
it.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, but until it's like happens to you, yeah, it's a lot easier to kind of
Yeah.
conceptualize for sure.
And it's still really not that recognized in the world of in like medical world, or you know, like, yeah, people having severe strokes or like physical things crippling them, and no one's
Yeah.
addressing the emotional body.
Yeah, like we're addressing the, what is it, the symptoms but not the
Yeah.
cause.
Yeah.
Would you have any like advice or suggestions for anyone who feels like they might have an emotional block, like they know something big's happened to them but they just kind of can't access the emotions to be able to work through it?
Yeah, so this, like, really simple heart meditations,
Mm.
really simple heart activations like what we just did. um Rose tea, like,
Mm.
rose tea is really beautiful, opening the heart, and very soft. It's very strong, but it's very soft. So sitting and meditating, like, on drinking a rose tea can help to open and activate the heart and make the body feel safe,
Mm.
um, which is a big thing as well. So, and also like getting grounded, being in the body. When normally when we have an emotional block, we don't want to be in the physical body,
Yeah.
you know. So synchronizing movement with
Mm.
breath is a really powerful one. That's what
Yeah.
yoga is.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you actually have to go and like learn yoga. Any sort of movement that feels good, that's, you know, synchronizing movement with breath is going to help move. So just like putting on some music that makes you feel really good and really sexy,
Mm.
and then just like really slowly, mindfully moving with breath can help to move those emotions through, but needing the space
Yeah.
to explore yourself.
Mm.
So if you're in a house with like your family, or you have one little room, it's the only place you get privacy, like maybe you need to go camping. Maybe you
Mm.
need to go hire an Airbnb for a weekend or something.
Yeah.
Where how can you be in a safe container, like alone, to explore that? Or maybe you want to like meet up with a friend and say, hey, could we maybe explore this together?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just some, you know, a few like personal things that someone could bring to their practice.
Mm.
Something else that's coming in is water, like simply speaking to our water and
Yeah.
like, hey, water, I'm feeling a little bit blocked and anxious or scared, but or I've been through something, I don't know how to integrate it.
Mm.
Can you please help me? And just speaking to your water and
Yeah.
then drinking it and allowing that to flow, and see how that starts to adjust things.
Yeah.
Mm.
You spoke about South American culture. Do you feel like other cultures maybe handle, dealing with emotions better than Western culture does in a way?
100%. 100%. Yeah, even indigenous culture, indigenous to Australia, they have a tradition called sorry business,
Mm.
I believe. And sorry business is like a way of grieving, and like a ceremony where the tribe would come together and grieve,
Mm.
and then they didn't stop grieving until it was finished, and
Mm.
then they move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so this, we don't have anything like this. Even someone dies in the family, and it's like, we're good, we're fine. And there's like one day of grieving maybe, and then it's like back to life, back to work.
Mm. Mm.
You know, we don't actually have rituals, um, and to honor those emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
We want to rationalize them.
Mm.
We want to think about our emotions, but it's not. The trauma is in the body. Like
Yeah.
everything that happens to us happens through the body.
Mm.
So I feel like it was really recognized, because I feel personally there was a time on earth um, where humans were living in more love, sort of
Mm.
where we're moving towards a cycle of more love.
Mm.
And then we've kind of coming out of this darker age where there's been actually more fear on the planet.
Yeah.
And before that, there was ages of more love
Mm.
and more connection with nature, and more connection with all that is. And I feel like there's a lot of ceremonies and medicines that
Mm.
acknowledge that, oh, you're physically sick, well, there's some fear in your field.
Yeah. Wow.
you
Wow.
know
Yeah.
yeah and that's literally the vibrations of the heart.
Mm.
It's like love, or it's blocked by fear. Yeah. So I definitely feel that, indigenous cultures understand the grieving process more. And then even, you know um I'm also trained in like yoga therapy, and just seeing how the yogis understood that everything's connected.
Mm.
Every organ, with every emotion, with every chakra, with every meridian point. Chinese medicine, like
Yeah.
there's so many modalities that look at like the wholeness of
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah. Talk us through your journey in going through shamanic medicine in
Mm.
South America. So you obviously went through the purging, and then like, were there lessons that came with that, or?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was a lot of purging, because I was getting my heart, even though my heart was probably very blocked, there was something in my heart that was calling me to go there.
Yeah.
And, I was a party girl hairdresser
Mm.
back then. So I was living quite a different life, and wasn't spending much time in my body.
Yeah.
I was tiring my body out. Um, for those listeners who are into human design, like I'm a projector, just like you, Kiara. And I was working definitely like against my design. I was working 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours a day, and then partying after that, and just go, go, go.
Yeah.
And then, so it took a big leap of faith to quit my job, leave my partner, leave my family, leave my whole life, everything that I
Wow.
knew, and move to South America
Yeah.
indefinitely,
Yeah.
a place where they speak Spanish. And I knew a little bit of Spanish. So that initiation in itself was huge.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. And then when I started, I fucked around a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, and then it took me about 6 months before I started working with the medicine. And then I didn't work with ayahuasca straight away. I worked with Wachuma or San Pedro, cactus, masculine medicine, and did some cleansing medicines like the frog, and working with tobacco to really cleanse the field. And then when I started working with ayahuasca, I mean, it's so beautiful that the plants have an intention
Mm.
to cleanse us
Yeah.
and to remind us of our multidimensionality. They understand, like most of these plants, they make you vomit, which,
Mm.
when I heard that years before, we associate that with alcohol. Well, your body must want to get rid of it, it must be bad. But to really start to understand the shamanic purge,
Mm.
that there's stuff inside of us that's from our life, it's ancestral.
Yeah.
We can talk a little bit about that at some point if you want. But we our bodies hold these energies that manifest as densities, plus all the poisons. There's so much poisons in our air, water, food, environments, toxicities, and that these plants have their own intention for us to cleanse that. So that was really painful, because I was in this new world, either in the jungle or in the Sacred Valley of the Incas in Cusco in Peru, this beautiful place, like clean air, clean energy. And I was really looking from a very far at this Western world that I'd come from, and I was like vomiting out the Western world, like, shit, like that place is toxic, you know?
Yeah, it's like I almost feel like you had a whole ego death before going there. Like you've, yeah, left your family and your partner and your job and everything just to go, I need something different. Like, was there a trigger that kind of made you realize, I need to do this or I need to change? Or was it just like I'm going on an adventure?
It was a little bit like I'm going on an adventure. Like I need, it was, there were a lot of signs, like you and I were in spirit class, and there were a lot of signs from spirit that I needed to do this. It was mostly excitement and curiosity for stories I've heard about South America. And I started to read books on shamanism and ayahuasca, and as the authors were describing their journeys, I could see myself going on one of those journeys.
Yeah, cool.
So this beautiful book called Aya Awakenings. This is can't remember his name. He's an Australian author, reporter, and he writes this book where he went there to, kind of like me, try ayahuasca just to report on it.
Yeah.
And then he ends up having this spiritual experience and completely changing his whole life. And you go through this journey with him. So there was like a feeling inside of me like I needed to go.
Yeah.
But also before that, I got really bad in drugs. I had a couple of experience like where I starved myself and I ended up in hospital. I think I was trying to get my mother's attention because she was dealing with the divorce of my parents, and she was emotionally more unavailable than normal, and my mum struggled with that always anyway. So I think a part of me was trying to get some sort of like attention, and I almost killed myself accidentally, unconsciously, by pushing it too far. So and then I did kind of come out of that and made a new sort of group of friends and started just dabbling in drugs, like less, just like more partying every now and then. And then I'd come to spirit class and get my butt whipped because I'd have all these dark entities like attached to me, and our teachers would be like, you can't do both, and I was like, I remember being really shitty, like, what, now I'm spiritual, I can't party. So I also went on this journey of, what does that mean to start working with spirit, to start opening my energy, and how do I protect it? How do I respect it? And it was more like I just knew I couldn't stay. I couldn't stay where I was. I'd been in the same job for 8 years.
Yeah.
And I just started asking so many questions, and I was pretty good at like pretending like saving and preparing for my trip and not focusing on the scared part of me.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was at the airport saying goodbye to everyone that the fear kicked in, and I was like, too late, already walking through the gates, and I was crippled with anxiety and fear.
Wow.
And I was like, then I was on the plane and I was just like,
it's done. Yeah. So courageous.
Yeah.
Would you say that ayahuasca did change your life as well?
Yes.
And how?
And that's not to say that if you want to change your life, you have to drink ayahuasca. I just want to put that out there. Like, it's not for everyone. And also the energies of the planet have changed right now to be more supportive. And I believe that right now we could do, meditations and breath work and whatever else, ecstatic dance, whatever you find your medicine is right now, rapé, like anything, sound journeys that maybe wouldn't have taken you so far 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But now we've got this supportive energy from the universe, and we're all raising our vibration that we can access more medicine. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like where I was back then, and probably generations before me, were like, I really need it to be blasted with this DMT right now, this psychedelic awakening. I feel like the plant and I had a particular contract that I would go there, because it's an entity.
Yeah.
It's a consciousness, the spirit. And I feel like I had a contract with this spirit that, hey, I'm going to grow up in this Western world, get really confused by it, come meet you in the jungle when I'm about 25 or something, and you're going to remind me of all my other lifetimes where I was medicine woman, and put me back on the path. And when you release me from that journey, I'm going to go back into the Western world and share as much as I can.
Wow.
And integrate it into the modern world. Because if you take a shaman who's lived in the jungle their whole life, serving medicine there, and drop them into the heart of Melbourne, and go, here, heal these people, they're going to have trouble doing it because they don't understand the Western world.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Full culture shock.
Full culture shock, yeah. And so yeah, I feel like, yes, she changed me. She changed the ego. She deprogrammed a lot of, it's scary to stand at the altar and drink that medicine and sit in the dark and surrender to whatever happens, to possible madness. You know, it's really scary. And you know, I don't know, I think spirit class really helped me to prepare for that. But also, yeah, not I wasn't really doing much meditation or like yoga beforehand. But I was stripped of the programs. And she also has this beautiful way of opening us up to source and to universe. Like I felt like I saw the moon and the stars for the first time, and I understood, you know, that I'm infinite, and then it actually dropped into my body. We are from the stars. Okay.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah. I feel like with things like plant medicine and stuff, it's almost like you don't choose to go there, it almost chooses you sometimes. And it's like, there'll be that friend or just that person going, hey, I'm going here, you want to come? And like that invitation will just drop in at the right divine timing, and it'll find you, as opposed to going out and searching for it.
100%. Even like I was in South America for 6 months or so before knowing that one day I'd try ayahuasca, but you know, really honoring that. And then one day a friend was like, I just did my first ayahuasca ceremony, there's one in 2 nights time on the full moon, are you coming? And I was like,
Everyone I've talked to who's done it, it's just dropped in casually like that. It's not planned. It's just, it finds a way to come to you.
Because you can drink a cup and nothing will happen.
Really?
Yeah, you could drink a cup, nothing could happen. Or you just have maybe a little spew, or just a little nausea, and it just works on a physical level. You know, so it's like you wait until that invitation, that time comes, instead of forcing it, and it will be what it's supposed to be. And
with like all things trauma, it's like everything is no one size fits all. There's always different modalities that'll work for different people, and different things you'll need at different times. And
definitely
just following your intuition to kind of get there, I suppose.
Definitely. And then there's the piece on integration. So what I love about ceremony and about plant medicine or shamanic medicine ceremonies is they're kind of like an amplified version of reality. So in the opening of the ceremony and then the closing, in between that portal, it's like an amplified version of life, and everything in there that you learn is very symbolic but more intense, so that you can then take that information and then be it afterwards and ground it into your life afterwards, which is the part afterwards that a lot of people get stuck on. They just keep going back to ceremony, keep cleansing and feeling really good, and then not knowing how to embody that. That's where the somatics comes in, not knowing how to embody that. Because it's really hard. It's really difficult to come out of these experiences that are so otherworldly and be like, okay, so, and shamans in the jungle, like they're not teaching that. They serve medicine and then bye.
Yeah.
You're like, what? You know,
Because they
that's
don't
very
know how to
common.
integrate amazing medicine into your old life or your Western culture or
Western does
all these
nah.
things that's kind of we've been indoctrinated into, I guess.
Yeah.
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 Did you struggle with that, or you just found it a natural progression?
Struggled heaps with it
Mm,
because I was over there for almost 2 years.
mm,
So when I came home, I didn't want to, but I started hearing Australian songs like "Give me a home amongst the gum trees," like singing to me, and I was like, "Shit, Australia's calling me home. No, I don't want to go." I could hear her calling me, like literally singing to me from afar. And I was like,
wow.
"All right." And, plus, I'd run out of money 6 months before that, and I was like just getting by. Like I was teaching English as a foreign language and doing lots of ceremonies, and it was beautiful, but it was a bit of struggle in there as
Mm,
well. And the time had come, and I got the same pull to go home,
yeah.
and that was even scarier than going to South America. Was going home.
Really?
Yeah, because I got home and I was so different. My mum had moved house. I some So at some stage, I had a room in her house, and sometimes I didn't. I had to
Mm,
sleep on the floor. And I had no driver's license, no car because it expired, no car, no bank account, no money, no job, no boyfriend, no
yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
Like I had no resume. Like I just had nothing,
Mm, starting
nothing
from
physical.
scratch.
So I had to rebuild that, and it was really scary, and I missed that. I missed South America so much. I just walk around the house and then just like fall to the ground and cry hysterically, and like it just seemed an impossible task to get back out into the world, and what would I even do?
Mm, mm,
So I ended up just like picking cherries. I pick up going and doing seasonal work and like meeting like-minded people and traveling Australia a little bit,
oh,
and
nice.
kept like kind of moving and just regrounding into Australia and Australian culture.
Yeah.
And then slowly I started integrating more yoga, and then I studied somatic mind body therapy, which is all about integration, and that was like really helped me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned before ancestral healing. I'm guessing, was this the part when you come back home and you're living in your mother's house again that the ancestral healing started, or?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, spot on. Well, ayahuasca, actually the first thing that she ever showed me.
Mm.
So the medicine comes on, might have a bit of a purge. The first vision I had was my mum. Ayahuasca showed me my mum in a way that I had never been able to see her before. It was like my
Oh.
purest soul was observing my mother and all that my mother is, and I felt her deeply, and I just wept, and I understood. I just was overwhelmed with the greatest love you could ever experience. And in this moment, I understood her whole life, her whole past, her whole
Mm.
everything that she is. So I just want to like, it's amazing that a plant can do that.
Yeah.
But I just saw her. It connected us in a way with no ego, no programs, no nothing. And I was like, oh my God,
Mm.
I love my mom. Shit. And then ayahuasca was like, you're going to come here, do all this healing. And then you got to, she showed me taking my mom's hand and bringing her on this path with me.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, she showed me, that this woman, not only did she birth you, but she cleaned you, and she taught you how to use cutlery, and she taught you how to wipe your bum, and she taught you how to walk, and she gave you all of these tools, and now
Mm.
she's withering away, and you need to go and bring her back to the light.
Yeah.
So that was part of that, is like what I started to realize, that when I got home, there was more distance between my mother and I. Um, yeah, things started to come up. she also lost her mother. So my mother was adopted.
Yeah.
Which is a whole thing of rejection in the family, and in the maternal line as well. So we feel it very deeply. And her mother who adopted her mother passed away when I was in South America.
Okay.
Yeah, she actually passed away when I was in an ayahuasca ceremony.
Wow.
Yeah. And I saw her in the ayahuasca ceremony. She was covered in light, and I was like, oh, she's good. She's good. She's fine. Oh, she's fine. And I came out of the ceremony and I was like, oh, everything's amazing. And then Mum called me and was like, she just passed away.
Wow.
So she passed away when I was in the ceremony, which is amazing. The plant could like connect us like that.
Yeah.
And then my mum and I did some healing together. But then it kept coming up, this like thread of rejection. So my mum was rejected by her mother, so she expected in her body that she would be rejected, especially by the feminine. So inevitably we picked up on that energy as her daughters, and we rejected her. Right. And we really had to break this down, and like, just, Mum was trying to fight us. And then we just had to be like, Mum, we love you, we love you, we love you. And just like really shower her, demons or traumas with love until she crumbled and cried. And we literally never had a fighting match with her like that ever again. After we showered it in love. And then we started to understand, okay, like Mum's been through this, and this. And, so when a woman or a female is inside their mother's uterus, they already have all of their eggs inside of them. So the egg that made us, the part of our physicality, our chromosomes that were actually have lived inside our grandmother's womb, and then have been in our mother before she was born.
Wow.
Right? So a part of our body, our physical body, has experienced the pregnancy inside our grandmother and the birth. And then everything that our mother has experienced, whether you're male or female, everything our mother has experienced, a part of our us has physically been present there for it.
Wow. That's so interesting.
Right?
It makes so much sense.
So much sense. So like, and we all come from mother. So we've all, a part of our bodies have all of us have experienced everything our mother has experienced in their whole life. So, coming to realize that, and then realizing that I didn't have to I invite my mum. I always invited her to things. My mum, she's pretty spiritual. She's pretty open. She invited me into the world of spirit herself. So there's a trusting part of her, but also a very traumatized part of her that resisted some of this stuff. But it was actually noticing that I could heal myself. The more I heal myself, there's this magical thread that like works backwards somehow. And as you're doing your own healing, you'll notice, and I wonder if you've experienced this, that your parents just start to change. They just start to have a little bit more openness, a little bit more love, especially if you're open and willing to see it. And not wanting to force them to change, but see them, love them for where they're at, and just trust.
I really think the journey, it starts off being about us and healing our trauma and healing all our programming, and then it becomes about healing the generational line. It's like breaking the cycle. I feel like that's what our generation has been tasked with. This is your job in this life, is to break the cycle. Definitely. And
how beautiful to have the awareness that we're actually doing that. Yeah, and a lot of indigenous cultures, they honor the 7 generations before, and they pray for the 7 generations to come.
Yeah.
So there's this like indigenous knowing of like, oh, there's ancestors behind us, and there's also generations to come. When you kind of look at society the last decade, like humanity hasn't really been, we're consuming so much, and we're not really, really been looking at like, oh, what's going to be left for the 7 generations to come.
Yeah.
I feel like we're only just starting through this trauma work, through this spiritual work, through this integration work, this magic, to really start, that's our way of going, oh, okay, like I want my children to have more heart, more heart awareness, have their heart just never closed off and more on. I feel like, yeah, that's our way of doing it. Yeah,
Definitely. And did you feel like, I know you have a special passion for the earth. Did you feel like by coming into that awareness that you were just talking about, it kind of expanded your love for the earth for the next 7 generations as well?
Yeah. Everything I've done in my life, yeah, extends that love for the earth. And I mean, the plant medicine was a big part of that, because you're like, she literally grows everything that we need.
Yeah.
Like everything that we need and beyond what we could even imagine. Like whatever, she's like, all right, you've got this, oh, I'll grow it there. You've got this illness, oh, I'll grow it there. And we're so supported, which is a frequency of abundance, right? How we're so supported by the earth. Like she's holding us in so many ways.
Definitely.
And yes, I did go through a very big time when I got back from South America that was very much like, we've got to save the world, and climate and eco. And yes, there's a massive importance with like taking care of the planet and taking care of the elements and working with them. But I was coming from this very much like this fear of like, what's going to happen to the planet.
Yeah.
And recently I've shifted a lot, and I'm like, actually, there's not one version of reality. You know, there's multiple versions of reality playing out, and there's multiple earths, different versions of how this lifetime is going to play out. And I trust, and I'm actually in deep listening to the consciousness of the earth. Like, she's good. She's good. She knows what she's doing. And it's about us aligning with her.
Yeah.
Heart to heart, like we did at the start. And yeah, and talking to her and working with her and working with the elements. And I think that's that helps us to open our heart, and also to know and to trust like the path, like where we're going, and to trust, you know, rather than, I'm not going to have kids because they might not have water. It's like, no, I'm going to birth kids, and they're going to have an abundance of water, and they're going to bring beautiful, you know, codes of light from the cosmos and sprinkle that onto the earth, and the earth is going to be so happy to have them. And you know, there's a bit of a different story, and we get to choose what story we're connecting to.
I love that.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's heaps of people out there working for, you know, conservation and making sure that we're one with the land instead of dominating the land. And I think that's the earth I would love to prescribe to, I suppose.
Yes, definitely.
And I think it's so reflective, working with elements and working with earth as well, and like so healing. And I never realized how important like nature was until like I was in a really dark space and I just needed to sit outside, and that was the only thing that really helped in that moment. And I didn't realize, but yeah, just sitting on the earth and just sitting with the peacefulness of nature was really helping heal me in itself. And that was just groundbreaking. No pun intended.
We're so cute, us humans, aren't we? We're so cute. Like, we're like, whoa, like barefoot, like look at me
Mm.
getting grounded, and like, native people are like,
Been
what
doing this
fuck
for
are
hundreds of
shoes,
years.
like good on ya. Like just lighting a fire and like that warmth and that energy, or even before we started the talk, I'm like, "There's black cockatoos outside, wow, birds," and it's like, yeah. you know
Yeah, it's
um,
just like sometimes we're just so conditioned to the whole like, yeah, sterile concrete office vibe that it's like walking outside is just such a revelation.
or hearing running water, sitting by
Yeah.
by a waterfall or by a river and listening to running water, and then like, or drinking from a
Mm,
stream, drinking
mm.
natural water is such a game changer and so healing. And there's, yeah, such simplicity in that, but it's so powerful.
Definitely. I find the best way to get out of my own head is to just go outside and sit in the beauty of nature. Like, wow,
Yeah.
everything is so beautiful. Everything is so amazing. And just enjoying a flower. As simple as
Mm,
that sounds, it's like, it just gets me out of my own head of my anxiety or whatever else is going on, like
yeah.
just in the moment. Yeah.
And the nervous system
Mm,
regulates the nervous system. Yeah, because when the earth and everything out there is pulsating at a different beat to
yeah.
um our Wi-Fi and our
Mm,
computers and our fridges. Like it's just a different, it's a slower pace. And I think we just attune to that humming of nature, and
yeah,
yeah, centers us.
for sure. Is there
Mm.
anything else you want to share about your journey of how you've healed or what you think might be important for the listeners?
Mm. Wow, interesting. You said like how you've healed, and yeah, I would definitely say I've healed, but I'd also like to say that like it's never done,
Mm,
and that's not to say that um that we have to keep digging, because we can also get stuck in like constantly looking for like what needs to be cleansed and what needs to be healed, and then we're never just stabilizing
yeah.
where
Yeah.
we're at. But I think it's also important to say that there's so much to humans.
Mm,
We are multidimensional, like we are, living out different realities and different timelines at once. There's this illusion that we're living this one timeline, this one existence. But the truth is that, many different versions of us are experiencing different things. So a different version of you might go through a heartbreak,
mm,
and then you might just for like 2 days out of nowhere feel a little bit heartbroken for no
mm.
reason, and be like, oh my god, I've not, this isn't warranted, like why am I feeling heartbroken? I'm actually super happy. But we don't realize that we're actually alchemizing a pain from a different lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might be a bit advanced, but I'm sure if you resonate, if you're listening and you resonate with something in this, you can go and you'll or get in touch, or go and find more people talking on this.
Mm,
um but we're not just the one experience, the one life. So, and there's heaps of different limiting beliefs that I just cleansed like a week ago or something. I just had a theta healing session with a friend, and I cleared this limiting belief that like I'm stupid.
mm,
And when my subconscious said like I'm stupid, I laughed at it because it was
mm.
ridiculous. But after I laughed, I cried my eyes out, because it was true. And it's from just being really curious as a kid and asking questions, and then
Mm,
having my family laugh at me and tease me and sing a song about me being Nick the Dick,
mm.
and like how there's a part of me that took that on as a full-on belief
Yeah.
that blocks me from being empowered and showing up in my medicine now.
Yeah, definitely. And it's amazing, yeah, the things you hold on to that you don't even know are there.
Yeah, don't
And you
even know
unearth them
there.
and you're like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely get like stronger to realize those things.
Mm.
And but it's definitely a journey that continues.
Yeah. Healing's a journey where you move through one thing and you become this stronger, more vivacious version of yourself. And then you can almost handle the next thing that gets thrown at you because you're this stronger version. And it's just, a continuing cycle, I think. Well, the school of life, really, there's always going to be something, but
I will share one other piece. And it's around, like, it took me a long time to really be able to forgive the people that hurt me. And we spoke about maybe talking about a little bit about this, but wanted to speak a bit about like healing from sexual trauma. And even like going to South America, I didn't know that I was carrying that. And then when I was in South America, I was sort of walking away from my spiritual path a little bit, and I was partying a little bit and drinking a lot. And one night I had my drink spiked, and I woke up with a stranger who was having sex with me. And that was really scary because I didn't remember what happened. I didn't remember him. I didn't know who he was. And I was very disassociative out of my body anyway. And I was confused. And I was traveling alone. So I knew some people, but I didn't have anyone solid, any sisters, anyone who could actually, everyone was like, oh, that sucks. No one was actually like holding me and fuck, you just been through something. It was like, oops, So I shut down a lot. And eventually I started working with the medicine of ayahuasca, and I started getting like super brave, and I was like, take me to my past lives that I need to heal, setting kind of wild intentions. I had a feeling that there was some sexual abuse in past lives. And then so she took me to this lifetime. The first one was really hard to go into the lifetime. I didn't want to. This lifetime, I was a young girl. I was like in a forest, and I'd been like raped by multiple men, and I was cold, and my mummy wasn't there, and I was dying. And I had to like the ayahuasca took me to there. I had to like relive it. And she was saying like, you need to feel a certain amount of this experience to be able to alchemize it, and then you can leave.
That's interesting.
So it was really interesting. So she was like, I was like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. And she's like, you need to be with it for a certain amount of time. And it was like a part of me that needed to be felt because she was alone, right? So she was by herself. So I held her and I was with her. And then I remember I went to, because I was kind of sitting forward, and then I went to sit up and come out of the vision, and she was like, don't leave me. And I was like, I'm sitting holding this part of myself, and it's almost like in that moment I time traveled, and I was like a guardian angel for my past self. And I like guided her through this. It's okay, you're okay. And I gave her this love. And once it alchemized, there was like this beautiful release, and it was finished, and I sat up, and the medicine was gone. I had to have another cup to like keep continuing the work. So I was like, I'll do more now. But that like alchemized, that finished. And then when it started to get really crazy, was after the medicine. You're not meant to have sex with anyone for like they say like dietas like a week or so, so you don't blend energies. And I was a bit naughty, and I started like I actually feel like the medicine brought me and my friend together at this point. And it was a few days afterwards, we sat ceremony together, and there was this energy between us, and we ended up making love, or kind of trying to. And it got to the point where he stood up, and he sat up, and he was like, hey, Nicole, like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. He's like I keep trying to like help you relax, but you've got so much tension in your hips. Like, are you sure nothing happened to you in this lifetime? And when he said that, it was like this energy. It's like though his words were a key, and this key went inside me and unlocked all of this stuff. And I was crying, and just flashing all these moments that I'd been like my first few sexual moments,
Mm,
you know, I was taken advantage of. I was drunk and I was raped by like
mm.
two brothers, two two men, two boys.
I'm sorry to hear
Um,
that happen to you.
yeah, thank you. I didn't know at the time that
Yeah.
that was what was happening to me. I was like 15 or something. I just lost my virginity to a friend a little bit beforehand,
Mm,
and then this happened to me, and then every sexual experience kind of after that, I forced myself to do it
yeah.
because I didn't want to be a frigid, or I wanted to be cool, or I wanted a story. Like I didn't, there was no pleasure.
Mm,
And that's what it's
mm.
meant to be. It's meant to be play. There was no pleasure in it. So I was like,
Yeah.
I also forced myself. And then to the point of what happened, the date rape that happened in Peru, I
Yeah.
actually got to see that. And I was telling, as I'm crying and I'm seeing these visions, this beautiful brother of mine was holding space for me as
Mm,
I was like just crying and letting it all out. And he I told him what happened in Cusco, and he was like, no, Nicole, no, like that's not right. Like that's
mm.
not right. Like I know that drug, I know what he gave you, and that's not right. And I was like, oh, like understanding what had happened to me
Yeah.
and cleansing all of that and cleansing all of that. And it and then I had to feel like in my body, I was like very closed off for days after. I couldn't have anyone touch me. And I felt like I'd just been raped or molested. It's
Mm,
like
mm.
I hadn't let myself feel that, and that feeling was there.
Yeah.
Even like, you know, having boyfriends that would wake up in the middle of the night and just I wake up to them having sex with me, and things that just, you know, aren't
Mm.
actually there's no consent.
Yeah.
So the body, like what I learned was, wow, you know, I thought that I hope this is okay to speak about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. I thought that like the word rape had to be like really violent,
Mm.
you know, or this sort of what this past life version of me experienced. I thought it had to be really violent and me screaming no for it to clarify, for it to be that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I realized no, it's the feeling that we get in our body afterwards of
Mm.
a boundary being pushed, of not not of intercourse but no pleasure,
Yeah.
of, you know, being, yeah, overpowered, taken advantage of. Like it's actually the rape is whatever it's the feeling that you get in your body.
Definitely. That's a really interesting distinction to make. I think that people need to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. And yeah, and then so then I had to, you know, I told everyone, you know, around me that I that had happened, but I actually didn't know I didn't know how to heal. I didn't know how to heal from that.
Mm. Mm.
And it's honestly taken years. Like I think I just cleared the last part of that
Mm.
5 years later,
Yeah.
after really, which is probably quite rapid actually for a lot of people. It's probably quite
Mm.
rapid. But the ayahuasca helped to like for me to realize and get in
Yeah.
my body and realize what had happened. And also the beauty of being in sexual presence with someone who was very aware and very safe,
Yeah. Yeah.
just like giving some love to that brother because he unlocked it for me.
Mm.
He felt
Mm.
into my body and he was like, hey, like something's wrong here, and that actually gave me permission to feel it all.
Yeah.
For the right, and to the brothers that are listening, the men that are listening, like to be that attuned and that sensitive to the female body is so healing for everyone. And it was good. He let it be all about me after that, you know.
Mm.
Obviously
Mm.
I was going through this thing.
I feel like it's so important to have those reaffirming experiences where it is safe in a male's presence to be vulnerable and to be allowed to do these things. And it would have been really hard for you to find that again after going through that experience and unlocking everything. But it's so beautiful that he gave you that gift, you know, that
Yeah.
you can be safe. It just reminds your unconscious mind that it is possible to find beautiful people out there who will hold that space for you. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, and to realize that, like, I didn't realize that I didn't realize how much tension I had in my hips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
you know, and that's like we so much unresolved trauma is in our hips,
Mm,
especially sexual trauma. And it's been a long, like, years and years of like, yeah, cleansing and clearing in that space. And you know, fast forward a couple of years, if you have any questions about like between them, just go ahead and ask. But like fast forward and like what the place I've gotten to now is like, um I was listening to a Pleiadian podcast. I like, whenever I get lost in my life, I turn to the Pleiadians and listen to. They're a star race, a star constellation, also known as the Seven Sisters, and there's a consciousness from there that streams through and shares beautiful information that really helps me when I get lost.
mm,
And they reminded me that the people that hurt us the most in this lifetime have the most love for us on a soul level.
mm,
I'll say that again. The people that hurt us the most in this lifetime have the most love for us on a soul level, because we came down here and we said, hey, I need to know what it feels like to be victim,
mm,
because I need to learn A, B, and C from being victim. So I need someone to play the perpetrator. There's going to be some karmic, you know, you're going to take on some karma, or maybe I owe you some karma or whatever. And it's not going to be easy for you to be the perpetrator, because at the end of the day, you're a divine fractal of source consciousness, just like me.
mm.
But I really need to have this experience. So these are the souls talking to each other. This is a soul contract. And when I
Yeah.
started to feel into the energy of that, and I invite you, or anyone who's doing this kind of healing where someone else has been involved, can really help us to start to connect to that soul contract and remember that this is a game. This life is a game, and we're all here to learn
Mm,
and to grow and to evolve as souls, and that actually nothing is good and bad.
yeah.
Everything just is an experience. And on a soul level, we love the light and the dark experiences of Earth, because it's a polarity that doesn't happen anywhere else in the
Mm,
universe.
mm,
So we're like, whoa, trauma, terror, horror, yay. And we get excited about all of that darkness on a soul level. It's fun for us. So when I started to tune into the people that had hurt me the most, and like then move past that human and connect to the soul that signed a contract to come and help me to learn that lesson, so that I could carry the wisdom that I'm carrying inside of me right now. So I can also, you know, I share this information throughout the whole universe. This is how you alchemize sexual trauma. We did
mm,
it.
mm.
It's information, right? It's light. That really helped my heart to soften. Not instantly, but keep coming back to that and viewing that person that may have hurt me in that same light, and
Yeah.
wishing that they can get to a point where they can forgive themselves
Mm,
and step out of shame themselves, and how much them having self-compassion for themselves is also going to free me more.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that part on forgiveness is just, it's a missing key that can really help
Yeah.
healing. And just because you're forgiving someone, it doesn't mean you're saying that's okay what they did to you,
Yeah.
but you're almost allowing yourself to let go of the big, dark, heavy emotions around that by forgiving. It allows you to move into the next phase and not hold on to that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And by doing that, I could forgive myself as well, forgive
Yeah.
myself that allowed it in, and that I was so like young and naive or whatever. And that part of me was allowed to be free again, because she'd been locked up for so many years. Because no, how dare you be naive and believe in the best in people? How dare you? We're going to lock you up and pretend that is just gone in our personality now. And it was, yeah, really healing to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that like that forgiveness of self,
Mm,
that is that's even harder, I think, than the forgiveness of others. It's a
mm,
mirror, right? The law of reflection works that if we're having trouble to forgive someone, that's a mirror that actually we're having trouble to forgive ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do, like, I also do, somatic parts work, and we literally lock parts of ourselves up in our psyche and just like tell them that they can't come out to play. So it's really beautiful that you brought that up. And forgiveness is connected to compassion, and I think both are keys to the
Yeah.
heart and keys to opening the heart. And for me, forgiveness, it's like you said, it's not condoning the behavior, but it's accepting that it's happened. Just accepting that it's, and everything is purposeful. Everything has a jewel and a lesson and a medicine inside of it. So
Yeah.
when we can forgive, I think it really helps to extract the jewel first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and accept that it was a potent stepping stone on the path of who I am today. And whether who you are today is a broken person or a enlightened person, it's still who you are today, and you're here and you're breathing and you're alive. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're obviously healing. You're on the path of healing, and you're on the path of opening your heart. So it's like, the forgiveness is like, I feel like extracting that tool and then letting the rest go, not making any more stories about it must mean that this. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Mean anything about ourselves or yourself. And just,
and again, it comes back to, like I said, you work on your own path, and then you can help others around you as well. It's like that ancestral stuff, or once we've gotten to that path of finding the jewel and finding what is the wisdom in this terrible situation, you can give that gift to other people going through that same situation, and you can run around just giving light to so many people that you never would have been able to do before if you hadn't been through that dark situation, which is the whole point of this podcast, really.
Yes. Yay. And definitely, like, I was the firstborn of my mother. My mother was adopted and then also sexually abused from the age of 4 to 14. So, and then she did everything in her power to protect us as young girls so that wouldn't happen to us, and it didn't. But that same energy, that same ancestral juju got me when I was a drunk 15-year-old. And then, anytime I was not in my body protecting myself with my guards there, these things happen to me. So it's like, that is the thread of ancestral stuff. So actually the perpetrators helped me to bring more light to my lineage. Through hurting me. So that's, I want to give just an example of a jewel. So if that one person, that one incident helped to alchemize and bring light to like my whole lineage, that means that my womb is not going to hold that same trauma. And when I birth my children, they're not going to have that in their bodies because I've cleansed it.
Yes, you've broken the cycle.
Yay. And they everyone is to thank for that.
Definitely.
Very cool.
So powerful. So even in your darkest times, there's so much power that you can find in that, even if it seems hard or impossible in the moment. Like, sometimes it does take years with these things.
And you don't have to do it all at once either. Like, it's very important, I think, while we're healing, to not overwhelm the nervous system and know like where we're at. And there's many different like powerful healing moments, like sitting my dad down and telling him what happened to me in South America, which was kind of risky, being a dad. But he said, he swallowed it and he looked up at me and he said, well, just so you know, like, that there's nothing wrong with you, and that you're still pure and no one can take away your purity. And that was, you know, a father saying that to their daughter. That's huge. That's something that like fathers would never have said to their daughters,
Yeah.
you know, and he meant it from his heart. So even that was really healing. So it might be, you know, a deep, you know, ceremony. It might be some counseling sessions. It might be, I highly suggest embodied work, because the trauma's in the body. So somatic integration therapy, mind body therapy, accessing your own psyche through your body is really potent medicine. But also having a really honest conversation with someone you love and trust can be so powerful and healing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Just having the ability to speak your truth and speak your voice. Is there anything else, or do you feel like we should maybe leave it there?
Yeah, I feel like yeah, my heart feels like, yeah, really open and full. And yeah, how about you? How do you feel?
I think, yeah, we've covered some amazing topics today. And I think, yeah, there's so much gold in this episode, hopefully for the listeners.
Yay.
So where can we find you, Wilqa Nina, Nicole?
Yeah, so mostly on Instagram at the moment. So it's Wilqa, which is WILQA.NINA. Yeah, that's the best place to find me right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all your wisdom and sharing with us your truth today.
Thank you. And yeah, sending many blessings out for the continuation of this podcast, and just the heart medicine inside. And yeah, I'm really excited for us to all move forward with our hearts like wide open, and yeah, just welcoming anyone that wants to continue this path or ask me any questions. Or, you know, we have a really beautiful big community here of people who are assisting the healing of others. There's so many beautiful modalities, and you don't have to do one thing. Like, we literally have an abundance of support now for the healing of this. So yeah, if you're listening and you're feeling alone, you're not alone, and so held by such a beautiful community. So yeah, much love.